Luigi Mangione will be back in court tomorrow in a series of pre-trial hearings for the state case against him. The 27-year-old, of course, is accused of killing UnitedHealthcare CEO Brian Thompson 1 year ago. These hearings will determine which evidence will be allowed during his murder trial. Yesterday, a police officer who arrested Mangione at a Pennsylvania McDonald's testified. The courtroom watched his body camera video of that encounter. So I want to bring in CBS News legal reporter Katrina Kaufman to talk more about this. So yeah, let's talk about this moment where the folks in the courtroom, and you were sitting there because I saw on your Instagram, there was a picture of you like right almost in the front row, what that was like witnessing Mangione watching body cam footage of his arrest.
I mean, it was a surreal scene, Vlad. Mangione's in the courtroom. He was very attentive, looking at all this footage, sometimes kind of looking over as the questioning was going on, talking to his lawyers. But the body cam footage itself, it was just a bizarre scene. There are Christmas songs playing the entire time.
Like in the background?
In the background of this McDonald's, where police officers came, they had responded to a call, and this officer who was testifying said he didn't think this was really the New York shooter. He actually made a joking bet with his lieutenant. The lieutenant said, if you get the New York gunman, I'll buy you a hoagie.
You can hear this on the...
No. He told us about this in court.
Right. Wow.
And the guy said, consider it done. But he said he didn't really think he was responding to a serious call.
Wow.
Yeah.
Or the suspect.
He said as soon as he got there, he asked this guy to take down a mask. And he said in Altoona, people don't wear masks. So he immediately knew who the person was in that restaurant that had been called about. And he said once he took down the mask, he immediately knew it was Luigi. This officer said he watched a lot of Fox News. He had seen the pictures of the suspect for Brian Thompson's murder. And then he just engaged him in casual conversation. They checked an ID that he gave. Mangione initially introduced himself as Mark Rosario and gave this New Jersey ID. While that was being checked by his partner, the officer is chatting with Mangione about his breakfast sandwich. Mangione's leaning in the back corner eating a hash brown.
Just casually, not looking stressed, not looking worried.
The officer starts whistling along with Jingle Bells, which is playing in the background at one point. We hear Winter Wonderland. So it was just such a surreal scene to see in court. And then ultimately they confront Mangione, saying that they know it was a false ID. He identifies himself, gives his birthday. They end up arresting him, searching his backpack. And that's really what's at the heart of these hearings. But it's just been interesting. We're seeing all of this footage from this one officer, Detweiler, and the different police cameras, seeing moment by moment how all of this unfolded.
Are you able to time out the amount of time that it took between putting those handcuffs on Mangione and when they read him his Miranda rights? How much time elapsed, or is that part of the testimony?
Well, between when they first came in and when they read him his Miranda rights, I believe it's about 19 to 20 minutes. I'm not sure with the handcuffing exactly.
So the defense is arguing that, look, I'm not a lawyer, you are, but in every interaction I've ever seen with the police, and even those on television, once you slap the cuffs on, you get read your Miranda rights. Why do you think that these police officers didn't do that? And how strong of a case does the defense have in getting whatever it is that they're looking to get tossed out because of this, the judge saying it's inadmissible?
I mean, they did read him his Miranda rights before they cuffed him. It was just that they engaged in all of this preliminary dialogue. So there were these conversations going on as they were waiting for the ID to be checked. The officer did frisk him.
Okay.
In court, we saw that Altoona, Pennsylvania has a policy that when they arrest someone, they can search their person, they can search their backpack. So they're saying that's a local policy. This officer says he's not familiar with the New York search and seizure law, which is different, Vlad. But this is what the defense is arguing. They're saying you knew that this was the suspect. You immediately thought you identified him. He was asking him questions like, have you been to New York recently? What were you doing there? Where are you from? So there was this conversation that was happening before they ever read him those rights.
Do they say to Mangione that they are arresting him?
At a certain point, they do, yes.
And is that when they read him the Miranda rights? Or is there a moment where they say, we're putting you under arrest, and then minutes go by before they read him his Miranda rights, which would be tricky, right?
Yeah. What happens, I don't know the exact timing on that, but essentially once they realize the ID is fake, once they confirm that, they say to him, if you give us a false identification again, you're going to be under arrest. He then identifies himself, and then they put him under arrest, read him his Miranda rights.
Wow, really fascinating. And you were there for it all. Katrina, thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks,
really
Bob.
interesting report.